It was a calm, breezy night. The city's most elegant restaurant, Le Fleur, was glowing under the golden lights, filled with soft jazz and murmurs of laughter. Crystal glasses shimmered, silver spoons clinked, and well-dressed guests smiled over fine wine. In the far corner sat Drive, Aamir Qureshi, a man in his early 50s, calm, sharp-eyed, and lost in his notes. He was no ordinary customer. He was a chemical engineer known across the country for his groundbreaking research. And tonight, he was about to meet an investor who could change his life forever. Aamir adjusted his glasses and took another look at the file before him. Pages full of equations, ratios, and reaction sequences, his life's work. The formula he had discovered could revolutionize the way renewable energy was stored. Instead of bulky batteries, his chemical process promised compact, infinitely rechargeable cells. It wasn't just science, it was the future. "Good evening, sir," a polite voice interrupted his thoughts. Aamir looked up to see a waiter, a young man in his 20s, tidy uniform, nervous smile. His name tag read, Samir. "Good evening," Aamir said softly. "Would you like to order now, sir, or shall I wait for your guest?" The waiter asked. "Let's wait," Aamir replied, glancing at his watch. He should be here soon. But time passed. 5 minutes, 10, 15, still no sign of the investor. The restaurant filled with laughter and chatter, but Aamir's table stayed quiet, the lone island of seriousness in a sea of indulgence. Finally, at 8:47 p.m., a tall man in a dark suit entered. Confident, polished, his presence alone demanded attention. This was Mr. David Shaw, the investor, a name known in every business circle. "Dr. Qureshi," David greeted, flashing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Sorry to keep you waiting. Traffic was a nightmare." "No problem at all," Aamir replied, standing to shake his hand. "I'm glad you made it." They sat. The waiter came over, and David ordered a bottle of expensive wine before even glancing at the menu. "I hear you've discovered something that can change the world," he said, leaning forward. "A formula, right?" Aamir smiled modestly. "Yes, a process that allows molecular stability at extreme temperatures. It could make energy storage 10 times more efficient than lithium-ion." David whistled. "Impressive. Do you have it with you?" "Yes," Aamir said, tapping the folder. "Right here, but it's still in testing. I just need a sponsor to take it to the next stage." The waiter returned with the wine, carefully pouring it. As he did, Aamir noticed something strange. The waiter's eyes lingered on the folder. Just a brief glance, but enough to make Aamir feel uneasy. "Anything else for you, gentlemen?" the waiter asked. "No, that's fine," David replied, waving him off. For the next 20 minutes, Aamir explained everything, how the formula worked, its implications, and how safe it was. David listened intently, nodding occasionally, asking sharp questions. Yet, there was something too smooth about him. Too practiced, like he had done this dance before. Finally, Aamir handed him a paper, a single sheet with a simplified version of the formula. "This is just the surface level," he said. "The real one is encrypted in my lab." David's smile widened. "Of course, totally understandable." He folded the paper, slipping it into his jacket. "You've done incredible work, Doctor. I'll get my team to draft a contract by morning." They shook hands. But just as David stood to leave, the waiter returned. "Excuse me, sir," Samir said nervously, addressing Aamir. "I think there's a mistake." Aamir frowned. "A mistake?" "Yes, sir, with your formula." David froze mid-step. "What did you say?" Aamir asked, startled. Samir looked pale, but continued, I studied chemistry for 2 years before joining here. I saw the reaction sequence you wrote earlier when you opened the folder. The ratio of catalyst to stabilizer, it's wrong, sir. If someone tries to recreate it as it is, it could explode." Silence. David's smile faltered for the first time. "That's ridiculous," he said quickly. "I'm sure the good doctor knows what he's doing." But Aamir's face had turned pale. He grabbed the folder and flipped through the pages. Samir was right. The handwritten ratio, one he had jotted down quickly before leaving the lab, was off by a single decimal point. Enough to cause a catastrophic failure. He looked up, stunned. "You're right, that's the wrong formula." David's jaw tightened. "Well, these things happen. No harm done, right?" But Aamir's instinct screamed otherwise. "You weren't supposed to see that formula, David," he said quietly. David forced a laugh. "Relax, I'm just an investor." "No," Aamir said, standing slowly. You asked for the copy too soon. You didn't even ask about safety data, or control environments. You're not an investor, are you? David's eyes hardened. The charming mask fell. You're too smart for your own good, doctor. Before Aamir could react, David turned and began walking briskly toward the exit. But Samir, the waiter, stepped in his path. Sir, you forgot your wine bill, he said calmly, blocking his way. For a brief second, tension filled the air. Then David pushed him aside, but as he did, something slipped from his pocket, a small metallic flash drive, marked with a corporate logo Aamir recognized instantly. It was from Energon Labs, his rival company. Security rushed in. Aamir quickly picked up the drive, and within moments, David was surrounded. The restaurant manager, confused but cooperative, called the police. When the officers arrived, the truth unfolded fast. David Shaw wasn't an investor. He was a corporate spy, hired to steal Aamir's invention and sell it overseas. The plan was perfect, until the waiter noticed the wrong formula. Hours later, the restaurant emptied. Police cars left, taking David with them. Aamir sat at his table, still processing everything. Samir came over, hesitant. I'm really sorry, sir, he said softly. I didn't mean to interfere. I just couldn't ignore what I saw. Aamir looked at him, eyes filled with gratitude. You didn't just save my research, Samir. You might have saved lives. That formula, if tested wrongly, could have killed someone. Samir gave a small smile. Guess I made the right mistake then. Aamir chuckled, shaking his head. You're wasted as a waiter. What did you say you studied? Chemistry, sir. I had to drop out when my father got sick. Aamir nodded slowly, deep in thought. How about this? Come by my lab tomorrow. I could use someone who actually reads formulas before serving them. Samir's eyes widened. Are you serious? Dead serious, Aamir said with a smile. The next day, at Qureshi Research Labs, Samir arrived wearing a clean white coat, nervous but proud. For the first time, he felt his life turning toward something real. Aamir introduced him to the team and quietly handed him a new file. This, he said, is the correct formula. Months passed. The project advanced faster than anyone expected. With Samir's keen eye and Aamir's genius, the prototype battery was finally ready. On the day of the public reveal, cameras flashed, reporters swarmed, and applause echoed through the hall. When asked how he managed to perfect something so complex, Aamir simply smiled and said, I had help from someone who noticed what others ignored. In the front row, Samir clapped quietly, pride shining in his eyes. Later that night, as they left the event, Aamir placed a hand on his shoulder. Remember that night at La Fleur? He said. Samir laughed. How could I forget? Aamir smiled. That was the night everything changed, because you said, that's the wrong formula. And with that, they walked into the cold night air, one a scientist who had almost lost everything, the other a waiter who had found his purpose. Sometimes, destiny doesn't arrive in grand experiments or billion-dollar deals. Sometimes, it's hidden in a single sentence from someone no one was paying attention to. That's the wrong formula, the waiter said, and the world changed because of it.